Hello, I'm Ari, and this is Shamelessly Creative. I've been working on the 365 Days Focus Challenge that was started by Artfully Yours with Diana. It's a focus challenge that she started from inspiration from another YouTuber. I've been working on this challenge for about 2 months, I think now. And this is my fourth update. My focus has been faces, and when you're doing a focus challenge like this, it can be anything that inspires you or you feel that you want to be a central part of your art or your work. So for me today, that means faces. I'm focusing on faces because it's one of those areas I feel that will play an important role in my work. I'm a doll crafter as well as an artist, and so it lends itself to the type of art I want to do. Now, if you're a landscape artist or want to paint florals, then maybe those are what you would focus on, aspects of landscapes or painting or drawing botanicals or whatever you feel your focus should be. Maybe this first year you just want to get better at faces. I just started this focus because I wanted a commitment to improve my art over time. And I think this challenge is doing that. This is my 365 days focus update. This is update number 4. I am going to probably be stepping away from videos on this challenge for the next month or so. Not that I'm giving up the challenge. I hope to come back and give you updates as I'm able to, and that may mean a few videos here in the next month, but it may not. Be posting as regularly as I possibly can, but I do have a surgery next week that is scheduled, and since it's scheduled during this time, it's considered an essential surgery. So, but that's going to limit my time for videos, and I really want to think about this challenge and how I wish to pursue it going forward. 365 Days Focus Challenge has been a great beginning, but I don't know if it's something I want to continue in that form. And so I'm looking ahead. I'm going to use this little break to decide what I want to do with this challenge. I've really enjoyed doing this challenge, and it's helped move my art forward because it gave me that focus. So I'm not losing the challenge. It's just whether I will be able to post or not, and whether this is the exact perfect focus challenge for me moving forward in my year. So with that said, let's look at what I've been up to the last 2 weeks. I've been doing faces. So yes, so here, this is one. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen this one. I think she's in my top 3. I think I'm most proud of this week. I don't know. It was the first person I have drawn with glasses, and I don't know. There's just something about her I really like. And I'm really enjoying doing these portraits in color pencil rather than graphite. And I'm not sure why yet. That's one thing I guess is important on this challenge, is that by focusing, you don't have to know all the answers yet. And again, if you watch my last video, I call it the mystery. It's being okay with just exploring. And I think that gets lost with so much Instagram and comparison and seeing what everybody else is doing, that you forget the essentials of what good everyday practice brings to your art. And though I feel like I'm doing a lot of faces and just faces, I am getting antsy with it. So I know it's not quite time to move on, but I'm feeling it's going to lead somewhere. And the right spark will fire off what should be around these faces, the backgrounds, the add-ins, etc. I don't know where the faces journey is going to take me. I don't know exactly how faces are going to play into my art. I just have this knowing that they will. So all I can do is follow it. I can't know the unknown yet. I can't know where Instagram and things like that is great is you get to see other people's work and other people's styles and other people's materials that can inspire you to your next step, that can maybe have you try a medium that you weren't thinking you liked. But it also can be a place where you can become self-critical and start the comparison spiral, and you don't want to do that. I attempt to show you my good, bad, and ugly because I want you to see the realistic journey, and that's what I'm hoping the people that want to follow me are on their own artistic journey and want to give it a try. Give it a try to just draw something every day and give their art a little bit more presence in their daily life. I was a person who, because of my age, it was just recommended that, art was not something I follow. Science, math, those kinds of things were definitely more encouraged. And I allowed life to guide me away from something that gave me passion and joy, and I let it stay on the back burner, and now I make time for it every day. Even if it's just a few minutes, most days it's a while, because it's a priority now. And I think where would I be if I made this just a 5 or 10 minute priority every day for the last few years? But I didn't. And so here I am today, and it sucks to be beginning again, but here I am. And I've seen improvement from the very first day I started. And I want to see what everyday focus will give me in 1 year. And that's why I chose to do a 365-day focus challenge. It isn't about creating a whole piece in a day, but something like this takes me about 20 minutes to half an hour. So it's not a huge time commitment. These little sketches, only take seconds, if not a minute. So you can do something every day. And just to know how quickly you can put something on paper. But the only way you're going to get better is to use some references and really look at what you're seeing. I definitely do better when I'm looking at reference than when I don't. So, let's see. So those were our last update. So I think these were what I did in my last video, and some of these faces, some of them are new. These two I developed from a pattern I saw in a pair of my yoga pants. And I just think they're adorable. I like creatures and stuff. Again, faces is my focus. Granted, it's like this is what we normally think of as a face. This is still a face, but a creature face. Some other ones showed up as well. This is kind of a work I'm doing for ATC It Up with Friends, and I hope to have a couple of videos of me painting those cards of their artist trading card group. As you can see, this one, the shading got too dark and the nose just did not work out. And so to redeem myself, I did this one because it was just so frustrating that this one didn't turn out after working on it for 20 minutes. And then the nose went south. Again, this is reality, is you're going to make some ugly art, but it'll lead to better art. And then that will lead to even better art. If you remember, was it last week or last update? And this was my starting point that day. And this was my finishing point that day. And drastic difference. So just practicing a little more and making mistakes. The mistakes are what is going to help your growth. For you to go, okay, I don't have that down. I don't understand noses. I don't understand hair. I don't understand shading. And will guide you to what you need to work on. And if you just apply a little time each day to work on those things will improve. I'm happy with some of what I created the last 2 weeks. Some of it I'm not. I like these little guys, even though there's not much to them. I really think they're cute. I was working on faces for my cards. Here's another face I created this week. And this one, or I should say last week, 4/24, was my start. Then I did this one. I did this for the Art Snacks in 20. And these little signs are cookie in Korean. Here's some more faces I did this week. Sketches using Pinterest references. My Pinterest page is One Shamelessly Creative. And I do have some faces and hair and hands pictures that I've collected that you could use for reference for any of these pictures. I mean, I'm going to start doing some videos either after my surgery where I put up the image and you can draw along with me. And eventually that will lead to some live streams. But then we can kind of practice faces together if you are interested in that. These are some other faces I did over the last 2 weeks. You know, this one more cartoony, the same with this one. I'm trying to do at least boys or men's faces too, so I'm not just stuck learning, you know, just the female face. And I think most of those turned out well. These were 2 more guys' faces I worked on with the Art Snacks in 20 on 4/28. I'm trying to date them so I kind of have a reference when I look back over the next year and go, oh, when was that? I was working on that. Oh yeah, that was April. So that's a good tip for when you're pick up a sketchbook and start sketching, is to make sure to date your pictures. I don't do, like, I didn't put any dates on this page. Or this one. So this one I did. These I did. These I did not. So I don't necessarily follow my own advice, but I'm trying. I'll get better at it. Same thing with signing my name. I mean, in my sketchbook I don't have to, but artwork I'm trying to remember. This, might have seen these on Instagram. This was one I did for the Marker Universe blind box. And this was, oh, this one and this one were similar. I mean, so this was my sketch, and then I tried to paint it to get an idea of colors for this. And I wrecked the sketch. The sketch was much better. I changed up some things, but this is reference. I forgot about that. Yeah, those markers just really sucked into the paper. They did not leak through, but they didn't spread nicely either. And so it just got all blotchy, and I'm sad that I wrecked the sketch, but it is what it is. This was the Karen Brush Marker Pro Colors of the Month challenge, and so I used those. This was another one using the marker blind box, This was just using watercolor on paper without any sketching. I just wanted to try, which I have another one, which is actually on the back of this one. I did watercolors, again, just putting down color, not using a sketch. And I had hit or miss results. This one I tried to go over with pencil. I guess a couple of them I did. Just trying out some things, and it didn't really work. However, I was glad to experiment with this because that's how we grow as artists, is taking that risk to try something that we think may or may not work. Like how the lighting turned out and this splotchiness, I actually really like this, where this is a little bit more skin tone and filled in. You know, there's a definite difference between these two and the techniques I used on those two. By taking those little risks and trying things, I think that's a lot of the time where we hit artist block of not knowing what to do next. One, this focus challenge helps me. If I don't know what to do next, I just start out with a face. And by starting out with a face, I've completed my task for the day, whether it's a sketch or a painting, and then I can go on and do anything I want to. But when I don't know what I want to do or I'm not feeling inspired, I'll just go in the art room and make a face. That's, I got to get one done today. And that either sparks more interest because the playing is fun, or it at least gets the challenge done for the day. So that's kind of how I'm using the challenge to motivate myself, is once I have my paints out and I start painting, well, gosh, I might as well paint this or do something else I have on my agenda to do. As you can see, there's things that don't turn out. I kind of like the moodiness of this one. Sometime when I get better at faces and hair, I will revisit this one. Right now, it was an idea and I tried it. The hair I'm really struggling with, but I kind of just like the mood and the mess of her hair. And this was a face, it's a little Yoda face. I had a lot of fun with this one, and I know I could do it better. I mean, this was a lot of work. This took me like 3 hours to paint and shade and everything, and I know I can do better, but he's definitely better than my last Baby Yoda. So the Marker Universe Colors of the Month for April, this is what I did. It was the red, aqua blue, and teal, I think, were the colors. And so the green wasn't exactly a Yoda green, but it still worked out and it was just fun. I like my sci-fi and a Baby Yoda with a Baby Yoda. That's kind of been my theme, is if I'm going to do a Baby Yoda, he's going to have his Baby Yoda doll, because everybody, even Baby Yoda, likes Baby Yoda. That was probably the most fun I had this week. I really liked doing this one and this one. As you can see with these two, they're both in the same mediums and just trying out different things. Trying a more realistic sort of cartoony look and a more cartoony look, I guess is how those go. And it was a fun experience to try that. And then going back to my original kind of artist style. I'm really struggling with outlining. It's just not one of my strong points, nor is hair. But I'm learning. Let's see, where's that one picture? And then there's this. So I would say this week, these are my 3 favorite things I did. I really enjoyed doing these faces and playing around with the paints. That was one thing I noticed in the last 2 weeks. I got back to painting. It may still not be anything, earth-shattering or that I would sell or anything else, but I see my style moving forward. I see my skills coming to the surface that I thought I lost a long time ago. They're slowly emerging, and maybe it's only glimmers because there's still a lot of ugly art that I'm making. But I learn every time I make a piece of ugly art, whether I'm learning about the mediums of watercolors or inks or markers. I'm learning about what works and what doesn't. I really like the color pencil rather than just the graphite drawings. I learned that the markers are not going to work in this journal. Well, and I guess I'm finding I really like using red. I use red pencil the most, so that's kind of interesting. So another project I have going is the artist trading cards. So I made faces for each of those as well. I still have to paint those. I'm really excited about some of these. They turned out really cute. I've got that to do this week as well. So I might have some videos of getting these painted. I'm happy with where I'm at. If I compare myself to somebody on Instagram, of course I'm going to feel defeated because I still have a long way to go in my art journey. However, on the other hand, I feel like I'm making steady progress. You know, the time you're spending watching even my video, if you're drawing along while you're listening to me or get inspired, that is a good use of your time that you, or if you don't, sometimes I mean, trust me, I binge watch YouTube videos of my favorite artists or friends, and I should actually be drawing during those. But I don't always do it. But by drawing every single day and just making that my priority, my focus of at the very least, Ari, if you could just draw today. And so some days it's hard. Some days it really is hard to find 5 minutes to sit down and do art. However, I'm getting better at it. And as I said, I don't know where this challenge is going to go once I'm back and recovered. I plan to draw every day for the next 365 days. Like on my surgery day, I hope to do a face in the morning and then the next day do one in the evening. But where this challenge will lead after that, I'm not sure. This was my 365 days focus challenge. I think my direction with this focus needs to be different. So we'll have to see how that plays out in the next couple weeks. But I'm very thankful for Diana and her inspiration and the inspiration from the video she watched. I will link his video below where she got her inspiration, as well as a link to Diana's channel if you want to follow her or the 365 Days Focus Challenge. As I said, I don't know where my journey with that challenge is going to go, except for that I'm staying focused and will be continuing my face focus over the next year. So I hope if that's something you're interested in, you'll watch my face updates because I will still be updating. I just won't necessarily update this every week. I don't know, unless the content is very interesting to you. I think, like every couple weeks, just seeing what I'm up to, because I do want to start adding some sculpting videos in and some sketchbook days. Originally, I was going to do sketchbook Sundays and sculpting Saturdays and watercolor Wednesdays. However, that has kind of, with the last few months of me not feeling well, that has kind of gone to the wayside. But that's something I'm going to be working on while I'm doing a little respite here, to try to get on a schedule that with these face updates, maybe I can do a sketch session and have a face on the screen for you to sketch along with me, and eventually lead those to live streams. But for now, we'll see how that goes and see how much interest there is in that. I expect to make a face like, where is that one? Oh, here it is. Yeah, I just keep going back to fill, I still need to fill in the spaces here. If you're wondering why I'm not just doing it in order, I hate leaving white space on my pages, so that's why. But I expect to do something like this during a live stream. I expect to be able to do something like this during a live stream. It's just going to vary on how much I practice before I start the live stream. And if you're just starting out, I know sometimes that can be overwhelming to see someone create something and have it be perfect while you're struggling, whatever. It just can be really frustrating. And I'm trying to take you along on this first year and maybe the second year of my art journey of starting over when I've definitely lost skills. And the only way to get them back is to practice, and to practice daily, because even if you did art for 7 days straight, you're going to notice that one day you're focused, one day you're not. One day you ink well, one day it's shaky. And then if you take that over time, and then there's 3 or 4 days you don't do something, when you come back to it, it's not really good. And that's where the daily writing and getting that daily practice in is going to help serve you and help promote growth in your style. Using references is going to help you, because it's going to teach you how to look. Like if you place the eyes and they're too wide or too small or too large, you're going to notice that right away, that the proportions aren't matching up. If you're just drawing out of your memory, then you might have a style that's that way. I mean, that's how I create the little cartoon faces I do. I mean, these two I did just out of my head. I didn't use a reference to create these. I was just thinking, well, what would kind of a Buddha face look like on a girl? And this one, I don't know that I had anything in mind, but these were more just try something out of my head, where these all used reference. And I shouldn't say that with these I was trying to be realistic, because I wasn't. Where these I'm trying to create the picture to look like the picture, all of these. This one again, I think this was out of my head, but I don't remember. This one was out of my head. But see, so there's a big difference between this out of my head and this one. Anyway, I hope explaining some of the pictures to you helps you know where I'm finding inspiration. I find inspiration in patterns and things. I find a lot of faces I do start with, these are little creepy things, but there is a pattern in there that I still recognize as the pattern I saw. I haven't executed it the way I want to yet, but I love patterns. I am a person that cloud watches in the summer and picks out shapes and things in clouds. I'm a person that sees a tree or a wood pattern and sees a creature, like a bundle of hair. I can see different things. It's just, there's a name for it right now. The name is escaping me. See where I was on faces even a couple months ago, and where I've grown to. So if you could compare her with some of these, at the time I was really happy with this page, and it's not that I'm not now. This was working on a pose and light and shadow. If you see, like I made a miniature so I could darken and shadow, that there was dark shadow here, and then here I put white for the highlights, and so I darkened the darks for the shadows, and then I circled the shapes of the highlights that I wanted, or where I wanted to put them. So, and then everything else is going to be your mid-tones. Yeah, and see, I said ugh, nose. I was really struggling with this nose. But just a few months can take you from more, I mean, I love her and I kind of like her, but out of this practice has grown a more detailed face. But I still have my cartoon style. It's not like I'm losing this. I'm just taking it with me. And the dedicated work on these faces is leading me to whatever my creatures or characters will be in my future art. I don't know what that will be. I don't know how faces will exactly play a role. But the emotions on faces is what excites me about art. Is about making something that evokes emotion. And I'm working on that. Is something I still have to work on, is how do I make, I like simple art because it's playful and it's cute. And so I know that's going to have a place in some of my artwork, is just the cute playfulness. But I also know that I want something that faces that evoke emotion in people, including myself, that have a story to tell. And right now I'm not there yet. I'm not at the point that I'm able to communicate a story, at least I don't think so, in my art. I'm still working on the fundamentals of skill development and getting that back. And all that means is practice, 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 practice. Is just drawing a face every day, drawing a face every day, using references, doing tutorials that remind me of different steps I may have forgotten. Blessed to live in a world that has so much data available to us. It can be a help or it can be a hindrance, because we can actually spend our whole day watching other people, or we can start doing the work ourselves. And I'm choosing to do the work myself. Because even if I don't create art for anybody else, I'm first and foremost creating it for me. I want to see this sketchbook full at the end of this year. That's my goal. And I'm not even halfway, and we're almost halfway through the year. So I need to get going and creating more and more art. Creating more and more art so I can fill this puppy up. So I'm Ari, and this is Shamelessly Creative. I hope I am inspiring you just a little bit to keep practicing, that you can see that it's okay to make ugly art, that the art will lead you to the next thing. And so that's why I just keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to keep showing you my bad art. I shouldn't say bad, my ugly art. But I'm going to also show you what keeps growing out of that ugly art, that ugly art serves a purpose in your progress. It's so easy to think that we should be better than we are when we're just starting out, and we're comparing ourselves to people that may have been practicing for years. And granted, there's people out there that are just geniuses at art. They can be 15 or 70 or somewhere in between. To compare yourself when you've only put in a little time, if you do art once a week, you can't, it's not that you can't be good. It's just you're not going to get to where you are happy with it. You need to put in the time, just like studying an instrument or exercise or anything. It takes a little bit of time each day to improve and see steady improvement. Because if you're not making the mistakes, you're not really learning and growing your style out of just putting paint on paper. If you're just doing it for relaxation, then it doesn't matter. But if you actually have a goal in mind for your art, then practice matters. And I know some people don't want to hear that, but it really does it pays off, and it matters. And I hope that you watching this journey shows you that you can improve, and in a short amount of time. It doesn't have to take years. It's just putting in the time and effort to improve on whatever one thing is your focus this year. And it's not just, right now, I guess because of time, I am only working on faces. I'm not doing a whole lot else, which is kind of frustrating. But I guess if I was inspired to do something else, I probably would. But right now, I'm okay with the journey I'm on. That I'd rather take it slow and steady and get better at faces and different angles of faces. There's just so much to learn in just this one area, that by staying focused, when I show up in the art studio, I know what to do. I'm going to draw a face every day, and I start there, and whatever is inspired off of that, that's what I do. Anyway, I'm just starting to ramble. So I hope something here was helpful for you today. Moving forward, it will probably be another 2 weeks before I post an update on this, unless I'm feeling well and energetic after surgery. So I just don't know how it's going to go. It's a major surgery. I've had surgeries before, so some I'm up and about within the first 8 hours. Other ones I'm down and out for a week. We'll see what happens. But I wish you all well. As I said, I hope to be posting some content, some swatching. I have a bunch of swatching videos for you. I'll have my unboxings yet of Sketchbox and Art Snacks, and I may have a couple other ones. So we'll see how much content I can get up and running so you have something to come here and watch while I'm on hiatus. I look forward to seeing you on the flip side if I don't talk to you before then. I wish everyone well, be well. I'm Ari, this is Shamelessly Creative. Have a great day, and now go get creative. Go draw in your sketchbook, just one little picture. All right, have a great day. Bye.